This video is to help students to create their first curved bowl. So this is going to involve a few different tools. We're going to go through a practice that doesn't involve so many tools first to get the main idea, and then we'll add curves. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in and create a new document that we're just going to call bowl practice. You can do this along with me. Whoops, all caps is on, bowl practice. Or just follow along so you get the main idea. So remember, we're going to start with a sketch on the front plane. We want to view normal to that plane. And remember that to revolve something, we need a rotation axis, and we're going to draw that with a construction line down the middle. I'm going to click on line and turn on construction line and start from the origin and go up to about 3. Now we want to use I got pretty close, but not exactly. You want to use the dimension tool to get it down to exactly 3. Now we're going to draw a zigzag side to this. So I'm going to start at the origin and just do a few different zigzags on my way up here. Zigzag, zig, and zag. And so I have a nice zigzag starting here, ending somewhere near the top there. So what I'd like to do now is duplicate all of this stuff and use it as an offset. So I can either select each segment one at a time, or I can draw a selection box around all those segments to light them up. And then we can click on offset. Now, offset's a little tricky. That's that double line, almost looks like a German B in there. And we're going to click on offset, and sometimes it'll give you a sideways or an up or down, and we're going to want to pull this inwards or up. Now, I want it a certain distance. After I let go, I kind of have to zoom in to make sure I'm clicking on the number here. So I'm going to click on that number. I can make it 0.121 thick. And now that's looking pretty good there. We've got our offset. It duplicated exactly this profile a second time, and we were able to move it. All right, so we don't have an open or we have an open shape. We haven't closed it yet, but before we close it, I'm going to want to turn off the offset tool and make sure these 3 dots are all lined up with each other. So I'm going to select this dot, 1, 2, and 3. Notice the number changing on my cursor. I have 3 items selected, and I want to make them horizontally coincident, perfectly lined up with each other. Now I can close the shape here and here, and you can see that it fills in gray. So we're ready to rotate that thing. So I finished our sketch by clicking the green check mark, and now I can revolve this thing. So when I turn on the revolve tool, it's going to ask me, what shape do I want to revolve? This gray shape right here. And then the revolve axis is this construction line. And as you can see, it created this kind of weird boxy bowl that looks a little strange, kind of like a Devo hat from the punk era. Okay, so you get the general idea. We're making a construction line, we're making a side shape, we're duplicating it with the offset tool, finishing and connecting that, and then lastly revolving that. So now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to create a curved bowl. Now you may need to try a few times to get a shape that works and that you like. So again, you're new to a lot of these tools, so you're going to be playing around with them until you can find something that works for you. So I'm going to go a little faster this time. Same general idea. We're going to sketch on the front face. I want to view normal to that. I want to create my 3-inch vertical construction line. I want to use the dimension tool to make that exactly 3 inches. Now, to do our zigzag, this time your bottom, I'm going to ask be exactly 1.5 inches. So I can click escape to finish that part. And I'm going to make that line exactly 1.5. Very good. Now, I'm going to have you zigzag this time, but this time I don't want that many zigzags, or you're not going to want to, because it gets really complicated. And you want each segment fairly long. You don't want any short segments. So I'm going to make a zig and a zag and a zig and a zag and a zig here. Okay, so I've got that pretty good zigzag there. So now we're going to fillet the corners. Now, from here, I'm going to ask you to start grabbing from here, and we're going to fillet this. We're not going to fillet the first corner. We're going to leave that as a 90-degree angle. Now, the amount we're pulling it in is we don't want the curvature to be that much, because as you could see with these, very soon the curve leaves. So in general, you're going to want the curvature to be less than half the length you've got there. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to turn the fillet tool off here. So I've curved all of these, and hopefully there's not too many line segments. Now, we're going to need to highlight all of this, including the bottom, but not the construction line. So I just drew a highlighting tool around all of that. Now, this is the tricky part. We're going to have to offset this, and we're going to want to pull this in instead. I'm going to pull it a lot in, and then zoom in on my offset number here. And I want that number, when I click on it, to be 0.121. And when I click on that, it really messed things up here. Wow. So it looks like I had a bad section here for the fillet. So I am going to escape out of that and draw my fillet again. So I'm going to highlight all of those and say delete 18 sketch entries. So I'm going to do again 1.5 here, and here to here, from here to here should be 1.5 inches. I'm going to zigzag this thing. So zig, zag, zig, zag, zig. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to use fillet starting here. I'm going to do very small curves, very small curve, let go, very small curve, holding down my mouse button each time, very small curve. Okay, so looking good. Turn off the fillet tool. I'm going to highlight this entire area and turn on the offset tool. The offset tool will have this thing work in just like that, and we'll have this zoom into how much we want it to change. Let's make that 0.121. And now we've got a nice edge there. Okay, so you might have to go and start that part over again like I did if you did too much curvature. Okay, so I want to finish this thing off. I'm going to turn off the offset tool. I want to make the top 3 dots horizontally coincident with each other. And then now I can finish my solid. So finish from here to here and here to here. So it becomes a solid object. And now for the magic, I'm done with the sketch. I'm going to revolve this shape around this axis, and looky there. We have a gorgeous bowl with some beautiful curves in it. And what's important is that we didn't curve this bottom, that the bottom ends up still being a 90-degree angle. So when you're done with yours, it may take a bunch of tries. The biggest problems I had were either making my zigzags too short or making my curves too much. And hopefully that'll work for you. Share it with me when you're done, and I can't wait to see the bowls that you create. Enjoy.